Hey, what's up, YouTube? With another episode of the Goose is Loose podcast. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, wherever you may be. If you want to see more Gundam content, please leave a like, comment, sub, all that fun stuff. So this time, we're going to be talking about the most recent first combat event. I believe that's Bandai's first ever big boy official 64 player-esque tournament here in the States. I think that's happening sometime in September. I'm signed up. Hopefully we'll be okay. I've just been messing around with friends, messing around with locals, and I think I'm pretty comfortable with my deck. I'm debating between either playing unicorn blockers or playing cyber Newtype, right? But to me, I don't know, maybe it's just me, I'm just bad. I'm just bad at this game. But to me, playing cyber Newtype, it just feels so antsy. I want to be doing something when it feels very sort of like a reactive kind of deck, right? You want to get value out of your gun tanks and your Akshas, and you want to rest units with your paired Amurals and stuff like that. So I don't know, maybe I'm just playing it wrong. I'm probably playing it wrong, let's be real. But I've had pretty good success with unicorn blockers overall. Freedom, for the most part, has dropped out of favor completely, I think, overall, because it takes all the way 7 turns, right? The resource and also the ability, of course, is very good. Because paired up with Kira, it can basically out almost every unit and not take too much damage at all. So that's always a benefit for it. But then in terms of just winning earlier before your worst matchup, which is of course Wing Zero, you can have Unicorn at the earliest by turn 5, right? And then hopefully by then you can threaten game and then shield, and then they never have an opportunity to play their Wing Zero and drop on it anyway. So I think that's kind of the counter. That's kind of the deck I feel the most comfortable with. But we're gonna look at Francais, oui. Shout out to French people, you watch this. Their first combat event. There were 3 pods according to data. Shout out to EX Burst and people who were there, able to get their tournament results. But you can see here, majority of people playing Wing Zero, because why not, right? I think it's quote-unquote the most easiest deck to play, because you just wait to drop your Wing Zero. Hopefully by then you finish game through playing your Death Scythes, right? It's a very straightforward deck. I think even very similar to how you would play I guess one U war aggro, right? You spam units, hopefully it goes well, and then you win by then. But we'll look at the first place one for this pod. So shout out to Ray Lark, if I'm saying it correctly or not. I have their deck list here, right? It should be their deck list unless I'm dumb. But they're playing good old normie unicorn, right? Unicorn package with your Banerjees, and then they're also playing the strike dagger, which to me I've never seen anybody actually play it. But in terms of being a 2/2 unit, its stats are not bad, right? I think most 2/2 units are either having some kind of ability and then 2/2, which at that point it's being not very good, because they will trade with your demi garrison or GMs and stuff like that. But for them to play strike dagger, I guess I assume their reasoning is so they can get rid of Zorwarts fairly easier, right? Or well, you would get rid of Zorwart anyways because of 2/2, but I would assume they're playing this because the 3 AP might matter, right? When you're trying to get rid of your Rizels, or maybe trying to get rid of other annoying units that you might play against, for example Unicorn Gundam. If you're behind, maybe you can trade with just a normal Unicorn if they have it on board for some reason that's not paired up. That's what I would assume why they're playing Strike Dagger. But otherwise, I think it's a fairly standard deck list, right? So for those of y'all listening, just 3 Destroyer Mode, 4 normal Unicorn, right? 4 your Ale Strike, 4 Grandpa Gundam, 3 Rizel, and then 4 Lefrith. People I think are turning away from Zorwart because it's not able to attack shield, and then usually everybody's able to trade with it anyways. The 3 attack, what are you trying to do 3 attack against anyways, because it won't be good against your Lefrith, right? I think that's why people are turning away from Zorwart anyways. And then yeah, I think fairly standard pilot lineup. I think they're playing 12. Usually people say play 8 to 12, right? I don't see anything wrong with this. I used to play this version too, except with Freedom, instead of say the 2 pilots or whatever, right? That's what I usually play. But they got first place with this. I don't know how it works for Bandai, but I'm pretty sure it's best of 1. There's no best of 3. So you need a little bit of luck, you need a little bit of a skill. It's a little bit of everything, right? So that's my only problem. Like I haven't gotten a full-on just like undefeated yet, which is very unfortunate. I feel like because sometimes like you're so close. Like I get 2-1, right? 2-1, 2-1 every time, and then just the last one, or like I just randomly lose the first one and then go undefeated. It's kind of like annoying. So hopefully, I don't know if they go top cut or something like that in like a big boy tournament, you get like top 16 and then you try to go from there. That would be great. But best of one, it's kind of annoying, especially coming from like Yu-Gi-Oh, right? Or even Magic, which is like best of 3. So anyways, that's one of the deck lists from there, from this pod. I think the other two are just green white wing zero. I think we all know what the dealio is there. I don't think there's anything super unique too from what I've noticed. We'll take a look at Owl's deck list right now from the second pod. So as you can see, it's fairly standard, right? Playing Strike Gundam because they can pitch and then draw, and then recycle, right? Makes sense. They got Freedom Gundams because they can play it at that point, because playing bird mode, right, with the Wings Gundam, able to get EX resources. They're not playing the command card. What was it? The one is able to give you another EX resource, because at that point, like, I don't think it's important. It costs too many resources to play it anyways. So you're gonna be behind. You'd rather play, I feel, play a unit in general. So nothing crazy there. Just fairly straightforward deck, right? You try to go with blockers. Hopefully you can last long enough, and then you'll have EX resources very quickly. At that point, try to hold out with your Kiras and then your air strikes. Because let's say hypothetically you play bird mode. You play bird mode on your, I don't know, 3rd turn, right? At that point, you'll have like 3-4 EX resources, and then you'll be ahead by a lot. So it's also why right now it's the most expensive deck for those of y'all who are just listening and can't see. It costs $282.94, which, to be fair, I think is the scalper price. If you were managing to get, say, like 2 Wing Zero decks and then 2 like Kira decks, right? The Gundam Seed decks, that's basically, let's say, like hypothetically, maybe $50. Because I know locals around my area, shout out to Game Castle, they're selling their starter decks, limit 1 per customer per day. But you know, it's like retail essentially. I think it's like $14, $15, more or less, right? So that's retail. I think that's pretty fair. And the only things you need to really pay up for that's not included is, like, you know, your dollar overflowing affections. Maybe you want to pay up for underground base. That's like 18 cents. You might want to get Freedom Gundams. I don't even think you need to play Freedom Gundams in this kind of build, but they did. And then of course the other expensive cards are like Death Scythe and Wing Zero. But I mean, like Wing Zero and Death Scythe, they used to be like $40 cards. I think Wing Zero is like 35. Now it's kind of like down to $20, because like I said before multiple times in these podcasts, like the market has more or less stabilized, because people who want to get the cards already got the cards, and then people are trying to just like make second decks, third decks, or whatever, right? And of course, when the meta changes, people try to sell that deck and like make another deck. So there you go. I think nothing super incredible either. So, and then finally the third pod, shout out to Centipede for getting their unicorn blockers, and their build is slightly different, right? Because this is their build. They're playing Sword Strike Gundam because, remember, it's able to bounce like tokens. That's kind of annoying as well. And it's essentially like a faster version of Ail Strike, because if you're able to pair it with, like, say, Kira, and then I think now people play Hawk of Endymion, you're able to get like a 5/3 Sword Strike on like turn 4, which is pretty good, obviously, very good, especially very, very early game. And then they're playing the one of Freedom Gundam, because why not, right? I don't know what else you would play instead of a single one-off. Maybe you can probably play another Rizal. That's another option I see a lot of people play. But for a very straightforward deck like this, where you don't play like Grandpa Gundam or Amuro, I mean, it's fairly standard, right? I don't think anything crazy is popping out at this point in the meta, where people are trying to figure out exactly what they want to play anyway. So those are the 3 like topping decks. And then some other decks I looked at, of course, that were kind of like, oh, that's interesting to see, is this Cyber Newtype deck, right? Where they are playing Sayla. I know a lot of people don't play Sayla, because why? I know for the standard Cyber Newtype is usually just your Maritas and then your Amirals, but this player is choosing to play. Let me get the name right so I don't get it wrong. I don't want to be like that guy. I believe it's Champagne. Shout out to them. Are they playing that? No, it's not them. It's the other guy. Or gal, sorry. You hear it? Yeah. Oh. Am I dumb? Did people not play? Hey, somebody top with this. Here we go. Asmodai, excuse me. Yes, Asmodai. Shout out to them. They're playing Sayla because it's able to heal, right? It's essentially playing like another copies of Amiral because it's able to repair, especially if you're playing with blue units, which is basically all of them. And since it's a level 3, you could technically like link it up with, say, your G fighter, so you can get like a cheap, easy hit. Because remember, on deploy, you choose one of your high, your white base units, and it gets high maneuver, right? So that means you can probably get rid of like at least the EX base, or at least threaten something at turn 3. Which at that point, turn 3, I mean, what else is there? Turn 3, you got your results, you got like Lefrith. Right? It's not bad. It's not a bad deal, bad trade. Otherwise, that's the one that pops out to me. And also the growing prominence of, I think, people choosing to play 5 base over like 4, even though it's technically an aggro deck, kind of, right? Where Visela is able to choose the AP because then your units will be having a plus A1 AP, and then if you have Grandpa Gundam, remember Grandpa Gundam, during pair, all your units get plus 1 AP. And so that's during pair, it doesn't mean link. So you could link it up with your Sayla, your Marita. I mean, it'd be really, obviously, ideally with Amiral, because then you get the rest triggers and stuff like that. But I mean, if I was gonna play Cyber Newtype, it's probably very close to what I would play. I probably wouldn't play 2 Sayla overall. I'll probably play just 1 as like an extra copy, playing like 9 pilots, I think is the sweet spot for a red blue kind of deck. But again, I've never had any actual success with red blue. Like I get the idea of the deck. Maybe I just need more practice. Right? Maybe I probably just need more practice playing against, like, you know, typical freedom blockers, or not freedom blockers at this point, like unicorn blockers and like green white wing 0. That's what you would play against to test the deck. And again, $211, is that really the cost? Yes and no. I think the most expensive card obviously is Grandpa Gundam, so you need probably 3 or 4 of them. And if you can get somehow 2 starter decks at like an affordable price, that'd be great. Around my area, gang, I've seen some people, some stores. I'll call them out. Call them out, Kevin. You know what they are. I'll say they are based on myth, you know, some sort of dairy product as well. And if you can say some kind of synonym with myths or some kind of stories of old that are well renowned and airy, dairy, then you will know what kind of story that is. But apparently they're selling like starter decks at $40. That's crazy. Especially this one, the heroic beginnings one, the one with Grandpa Gundam and Ariel, $40. And I saw they were apparently selling the assembled kit of this for like $90 to $100. That's ridiculous. That's crazy. Like, people who want to get decks and cards obviously probably already have it. So, you know, the hell with them. I hope it just rots on the shelves. I hope they go out of business. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not that petty. I am that petty, but not that petty. So yeah, those are the deck lists for France. They had their pods for first combat events. Now, I don't know what the meta is in France. Do they have strong players? Probably. I'm gonna go on a limb and say, if there was some kind of national tournament or international tournament, right, which country will probably beat the other country? Well, Japan, of course, because the game probably originated with them. No, I'm just kidding. I actually don't know. Right, it's not like Yu-Gi-Oh! Where it's worlds, and then you kind of have like a goofy ban list. But here, obviously, everybody's on like the same playing field. Like Japan, I don't think is gonna get the cards earlier than we would. Everybody gets the cards at the same time, which is something new to me, right? Here in America, I'm just used to like Yu-Gi-Oh! Where Japanese meta would define, and they have their own meta, which is completely different from what we will play. Because, you know, a little card called Maxi. But here, France, is this going to be similar results to America? Around my area, basically everybody plays like some form of freedom blockers, right? Now people are maybe shifting to unicorn because they realize like freedom takes a while, and then your worst matchup, green 0, wing 0 will probably bop you beforehand because they're able to get the drop and EX resources at that point, so you get screwed over. So I think in America you'll probably see a larger representation of like Cyber Newtype Ping, because this is overall like a popular deck around here, especially my locals too. So like in locals here, people just play like two decks: is Unicorn Blockers or Cyber Newtype Ping. I don't think there's anything in between. Like nobody really plays anything Xeon related, because Xeon Rush is not ideal, and around my neighborhood is all like I don't say try hard people, but it's people who are like in the know, right? People willing to pony up for the shiny cardboard. So it's fairly competitive. Like people who go 3-0 are very consistent in going 3-0. That's kind of level we are. Or people who go 3-0 like go to multiple locals on the same day. Because around where I live, like there's an event at 11, and then you go to next locals at 2, right? Somehow you're able to make it, and the next locals at like 6:30. So it's possible to go like 3 locals in the same day. That's crazy. That's so much Gundam. I don't think even I can handle that. But yeah. And then finally, I wanted to look at Justice blockers, right? Is that what you would call this deck? This was also one of them on the Newtype challenge. I don't think they did well, but I think there's obviously potential here as well. Like when I talked about Academy blockers, where Justice Gundam, if you don't know what it does, it on deploy it makes a token, and then if during pair you choose one of your unit tokens, it can attack on deployment. So you have 2 units essentially with rush upon summon, right? That doesn't sound too bad, but to me, it being a 7/5 cost, the stats are alright, I think, for the most part, but it's just like, I don't know, level 7, you gotta wait all the way to level 7, and then at that point, you'll have other options that I think are a lot better, with better stats too. Like, for example, your Unicorn, you got your, well, I mean, Death Type, I believe, is level 6, right? Something like that, level 6, whatever. And then you also have like your Freedom Gundam, which obviously can bop this like no problem. I think that in the foreseeable future, if you're able to get more support units, because that's kind of the gimmick, right, for Zaft in general, it's like supporting each other. This would be not that bad at 2/2, right, with blocker, if you already have support on field. I think personally this is like not great, right? But I understand like in the foreseeable future it will probably be a lot better, because when you pair it with Atherin, who's like the one with the Justice, right? You're able to basically bop units that are level 5 or lower, like regardless of anything. And you know, you don't have bad options. You have like Grandpa Gundam you can bop potentially. You have Ale Strike you can potentially bop. But are you willing to trade like an Ale Strike, which remember is level 5, 4 cost, probably paired with Kira. So really it's gonna be like a 6/5 with like a what, 6/7, because after is 2, 1, 2, a 6/7 like Justice Gundam. It's not great, you know? Like, again, I see the idea, because then you have 2 units with rush essentially upon summon, but it just costs too much, gang. I don't see how this would be meta viable at the moment, right? Please let me know in the comments down below. Like, clearly, objectively speaking, if you're gonna play some form of like blockers with Ale Strike and Kira, I mean, Unicorn and Freedom are way better options, right? At the moment, of course. Even you want to play like Aerial. Aerial's a lot better too, because then you have command cards. You're able to at least add it back to hand, and maybe you can get like, you know, your Striker pack. Maybe you can get back another Overflowing Affection and draw cards. But yeah, like even Strike Rouge paired with Kigali, who's like the Orb unit or Orb pilot unit. Like, she becomes blocker with the Strike Rouge, and you can like reset, but it costs 1 mana to do it, or 1 resource to do it. Not great. I don't think this is amazing, gang. That's why the deck's so cheap, 115 bucks. It doesn't really cost 115 bucks, but you know what I mean. Like, the most expensive card in this build is basically the Ale Strike, but if you get 2 starter decks, that's like what, 30 bucks? 30 bucks, and then every other card is like a couple cents. Maybe $3 if you want to get like Zor Wars, but you can easily replace them with some other blocker if you want, some budget blocker. So, anyways, Justice. I'm sorry, Justice will be as good once I start cooking for the Tallgeese deck, right? That's how I believe. That's what I believe. Anyways, prove me wrong, gang. I'm talking out my ass, and then later somebody figures it out, and you play dual Gundam, is able to add stuff, and then figure it out. Because I know in initial meta when the game first came out, I believe Eggman, shout out to him, he said like, oh, people were trying to figure out Zap. Zap is so underrated, but then I think reality came true, and people realized Wing Zero can just bop everything. Because that's the big, I think, I guess the bar for like whether or not it's a good deck. Can you beat Wing Zero before it drops? And you know, most decks that are good can, most decks that are bad cannot, right? So anyways, that's really all I got to say for the meta at the moment. Things are pretty much settled. I don't think things are gonna go crazy. I don't believe there's gonna be some kind of sleeper deck like Tallgeese. Like I said, Tallgeese came out of nowhere, like, oh my god, it's actually broken. JK. I think everything's pretty much expected, right? Let me know in your neck of the woods if people figured out something sleepy, something crazy. Yeah, now we'll move on to more news. So shout out to Reddit. Not really shout out, but shout out to Reddit. Apparently, there's gonna be better pricing updates. So if y'all are in the locals and they do like participation packs, but only for like top 8, well, you're in luck. I think they're gonna upgrade the amount of stuff you're gonna get from your locals, right? And they're saying this is an exception based on the growing extreme popularity of Gundam Card Game. So that's good. That's great. Unless your OTS is, you know, terrible and they say like, oh, we don't have enough stock and we're only gonna do like top 8, especially for participation packs. You know, they said October they're gonna be shipping based on the rank of September 1st. So you know that's in a couple days at the time of this recording. So the more people that are playing your tournament, you're probably gonna get more stuff, right? And then based on that, you can be updated rank. I believe you need to be like gold rank to get additional stuff as well, and based on the number of seats you have, right? Because gold, I believe gold is like the bare minimum for you getting like good stuff. I don't know the rest. I need to just talk to locals people, but you're gonna get more stuff. That's good, right? Strengthen your store's confidence, excitement for opportunity. Cause gang, around my locals, like people are going nuts for Gundam. Like you cannot find Gundam like anywhere, and people are charging like $200 too, like Legends. Oh, sorry, shout out. So then, there you go. Whatever. They're not listening. Nobody watches me. So Legends, you know, they're like selling like $200. That's crazy. But I mean, what else? What other option you have? They have all the right to sell the market, and like there's no market here. Game Castle, again, shout out to them. They're doing like limits at their store for 6 packs per person per day, and I think their allocation for product is even like lower at this point because they get like pretty consistent people playing for their Gundam tournaments on Wednesdays, which is really good. Yeah, so, and plus like I think even though like good locations have product, the product when I went to locals to see like if they have new like restocks, the only thing people are really buying is like Heroic Beginnings, because that's like the money deck, right? Everyone wants Grandpa Gundam just to have it as trade fodder or like try to scalp it or whatever, because it's such a good card. In my opinion, it's probably the best card in the game right now, because it gets +1 AP and then also like be able to rest units with Amuro when it's paired, and then also like to have to repair too, which is even more broken, right? 4/3, and what Amuro? That's like what 6/5 or whatever the typical AP HP is. Like everybody wants to get Grandpa Gundam. If you can play Grandpa Gundam in your deck, you should. Why not? The best card in the game. So yeah, that's really the only news. I don't want to do like card news yet until we get like a full set. We'll probably do a video on that on the next booster set that's coming out in October. Also, another thing is like apparently there are already pre-orders, and I had no idea, and it was already too late. It's too late. if you're not there for that one day, that one time that they announced pre-orders at your locals, then you're screwed. Even GameStop I went to and said just show up. Nobody's gonna show up for this, but then they said you can't pre-order anymore because like it's sold out or something like that for packs. So you know, Gundam Card Game is popping off. I would like to believe in like 2 to 3 sets, maybe set 3, 4. And when the scalpers finally like leave, and or people think this game's cringe, then I think it'll be more easily accessible for stock. Because around my area, I've seen on Discords and just social media, people posting like, "Oh, Gundam Card Game is at this Target or Walmart," but you know, by the time they get there, like someone just bought the entire thing. So even if you're gonna check, you got to be extremely lucky, or know some guy who knows some other guy who's able to get it and get it for you. But I don't know, I'm not that cool. Yeah, those are some news for now for the Gundam Card Game if you're playing locals, so that's good. More allocation means more people are gonna come, meaning like even if you don't do well, at least you'll get like a participation pack or something. That's always good. Now we'll look at, this is not financial advice, by the way. We'll look at the market, because it's always fun to look at the market based on what people are buying. Like let's see, first of all, again, let's look at Heroic Beginnings, because that's the one everybody wants. Everybody and their mom wants this one. Not financial advice. Look at this. Oh my god, gang, what are we doing? Look at this, $50, and this is just a deck. That's crazy. What are we doing? People unironically are buying this, right? Yeah, $50. Look at this guy or girl. Guy. They just bought one of this, just the starter deck. $50, $45. What are we doing, gang? What are we doing? This is crazy. If you have no impulse control, please please find someone who cares for you to check yourself. This is insane, gang. The reprints are coming too, right? Check your locals. If they're good locals, they'll have it at a reasonable price. But look, that's crazy. $50, and this is just the deck, no promo pack. What are we doing? Oh, guys, it's crazy. Can't even get GMs anymore. GMs are like $2.50. Zoroarks went up to $4. $5 at this point with shipping and taxes. $5.50 right there. Oh my god, guys, it's crazy. I know Zoroark's technically good. It's like probably the best 2/2 blocker, but you got other options, gang. I mean, this is America. You can do whatever you want with your money, but if you're spending $50 on a deck that costs $12, so what are we doing, gang? You can get so much more value out of $50 for other things, you know. But let's look at the booster set overall. Remember, right now a lot of locals are getting their product back for restocks, so prices for the most part, I think, for non art stuff are dipping. Like, ooh, Death Sight, wow, $14. Is it really 14? Wow, JK, it's $20 actually. But you know, Death Sight's $20. It's not bad. It used to be like a $40 card, right? Like I said, $42 like earlier this month. Isn't that crazy? After a week, boom. This is why I always say it, gang. It's not financial advice. It's not financial advice, but I'm just saying, if you want to have return on investment, right? Make money. 3 things, 3 R's, right? You invest in, well, 3 things, not R's, but 3 things, right? Land, you invest in blue chip stocks, and you invest in gold, right? Resources, valuable metals, right? Those are the 3 things. Those are only 3 ways you can guarantee you make money, gang. Anybody's trying to tell you can make money off of cardboard, it's tough. I tried. It was a good like side hustle for a long time, but it's so inconsistent. You can lose so much money over a period of time. Look, like, excuse me for drinking water, but your destroy mode Gundams, right? That used to be like a $60 art, now $40 card, and this is like the most popular one in my opinion. This should be a lot higher, because you need at least 3 of them if you're playing unicorn blockers. But that's, again, it's correlated to people who already have the deck. Most likely are not going to be paying up like $70 at this point, because the demand is not there. Like, why would you pay $40 for an alt art unicorn when you get a normie unicorn for like $10 now? $10 now. That was 15. Well, really. Let's say on the low end, $15, right? Relatively, more or less, $15. I know these are like quote unquote not star whatever sellers, but for the most part, You know, let's say it's like a $13 card. 13 versus, let's say, 40 bucks. That's like 3 times more or less the value, right? 3 times value. For me, and this is kind of like a rule of thumb, but if you can get some kind of higher rarity version, the most I would feel comfortable paying is like twice the value. For example, Kshatriya, like 22 bucks. Alt art Kshatriya, which in my opinion doesn't look as good, because it's just like half of the image with the unicorn. Because look, it's missing the wing binder. I personally don't like the art, but obviously if you got a free one you want to give me, it's just great. Just kidding. But like, this is about what, $58? Say 58. Let's say 60 bucks, and like $22 more or less. Is it 22? Let's say 20. Yeah, 22, 23. High end $25. I wouldn't pay it, right? Because again, I don't like the alt art as much as the normie art, but it will be understandable to me if you wanted to get it, because one, it's going to retain value more than the normal version, and also I guess it's an alt art, right? If you want to like technically bling out your entire deck, it wouldn't feel that bad. But if you're going to bling out your entire deck, you're not going to care about these values anyways, right? You're going to pay it anyways because you're like, you got big boy money. I don't got big boy money. I wish I had big boy money. I will have big boy money, but not right now. Maritas, I managed to at least get one at a somewhat reasonable price. Earlier this week they're about 60 bucks. Now they're starting to climb up again. Is it gonna stay this way? I would say so. Right. All arts for the most part I think will retain value overall compared to normie, commoner, you know, pleb people like us. The arts there. Like area rebuild is another one I can easily see rising up significantly. This is 56 bucks. That's not bad. Right, next one you got a 671 or 61. I mean, $56? Normie area is like what, $5 by the way. So that's like 10 times the value of it. So unless I'm wrong, let's check. Where's normie? Okay, $7. $7, what? That's like 6, 7, 8 times the value of that. I don't think it's worth it. But I understand if you did, right? I absolutely understand if you did. You gotta bling out your deck, why not? Like, what else? Norming Unicorn. Norming Unicorn, which you probably play as a 4 of. If you're playing Unicorn blockers, that's what? 30 cents. Why? Because it's relatively easy to get. There's also so many different printings of it, like the beta printings. And then there's also the, what's it called, the event ones that they also had, which unfortunately I wasn't able to go. But I believe those are like $1. That's a 40-cent card. Now you're gonna play 40 cents, which, you know, for your playset, let's say 40 cents times 3 times 4, maybe $2 at most. How much is for one, by the way? $30. I don't know. I don't think it's worth it. But if you gotta bling out your deck, that's what you gotta do, right? See, these are the sales. Maybe you sell like 3 a day, but for the most part, I think the game is relatively affordable, and this is how it should be, right? If you want to bling out your deck, you absolutely can. You're gonna pay up the wazoo for it, but if you're just kind of like me and want to have the actual cards, then it's not gonna take like an arm and a leg for the most part. The most expensive normie card at the moment for Newtype Rising is still the Kshatriya, right? Kshatriya is the only one, like 22, say $23 at the most, which is 4 of, and like Cyber Newtype, which is the one of the most popular decks. And also remember that it pairs with Marita. Marita's, I guess, waifu card, right? So that's also another tax. But really, I mean, this could probably go down to like 18 bucks, 15 bucks. I can see that happening. Why? Because once the new cards come out, people want to play Iron-Blooded Orphans, right? People want to play Barbados. There's a merge well with Cyber Newtype ping. I can see that, right? Let's say you take 1 damage of this, you're doing damage to them. I can see the synergy there. But for the most part, everything is affordable. Again, like I say multiple times, people who want to play the game most likely already have all the cards they need. Like me, I have a full Cyber Newtype deck. I got freedom blockers, unicorn blockers. I got everything. I don't really feel the need to get product personally, aside from just like the chase and just getting opening packs. But do I need to buy product? Not really. If I wanted anything, I guess there would be like alt arts, but then even then, I'm satisfied with what I have now. Right? So that's why you're seeing like the market kind of just dip significantly, and also people say that Walmart and those big box retailers are gonna push more product to the market to lower the prices. I think it will, but not much. Not that much. I don't think it's gonna happen at all. So if you're trying to make money off a Gundam card game for some reason as an investor, for real, just do something else. Don't invest in Gundam. It's not worth it, right? Sure, people are saying, wow, area rebuilt, $500. Have we sold any? It's been 4 days since the last one. Some guy paid $650, like a rich boy, but who's gonna buy this? You know? Collectors? Are there collectors? Are there enough hardcore people in Gundam Card Game at the moment to try to get money by investing in like a area rebuild that it can flip later for some reason? The demand's not there, right? That's why these prices are what they are. The demand is not there for the most part. People who want their decks already have it. New players who want to play it probably are just waiting to restock to see if they can get starter decks first and then try to build a deck, right? But then starter decks can't be bought right now because that's the most valuable like commodity out of all of the cards. Anyways, like let's see seal product. How much does that cost? 175? I wouldn't trust that though. Maybe let's say 180. Alright, those are like 200, 250 at one point. I mean, I wouldn't pay these prices, but you can easily do better by buying singles if you're trying to get that. If you're trying to get the chase, of course, you do what you gotta do. But anyways, market, if you gotta buy something, I think, honestly, not financial advice. Just, if I were gonna buy stuff, I'll probably buy it now. I wouldn't feel bad if you were buying stuff. Just be aware that some cards, especially normie cards, can just crash overnight. So if you feel like you want to pay $22 for a Chacha right now, I wouldn't feel that bad to get your 4 copies. Let's say 80 bucks at the lowest. Maybe $90 or more accurate. But don't be surprised if they like it eventually crashes down to like $18. Because look, you can see it right here. See that little chart? If I can put like the intercept right there, it'll be going downward. The peak was right here. Right? That's initial hype, people trying to buy the game. Now people already bought their decks. There you go. Everything is on the down. Nothing, I believe, is on up. Prove me wrong. Only one that's kind of like unstable right now is Merida. See, look at that. Whoop, 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 whoop. But that's gonna more or less stay in that $60 range. Like, I wouldn't feel bad if I paid, let's say, $70 and now it's down to $65, $5. If you're paying this big boy money, that value is not going to be worth it to you anyways. So that's really all I have for this week for Goose Loose podcast. I'm still trying to cook up that Talk Goose list, gang. If y'all got any ideas, please let me know. But thanks for watching. If you're watching this far, thank you for listening to me ramble about Gundam and the market, because that's always fun. I don't think anything's going to change, but yeah. Thanks for watching. See you guys around. Bye bye.